Hi everyone, welcome back to Next Diecast. So about maybe over a year ago, I would say, I posted a video kind of updating you all on my old Matchbox and Hot Wheels collections that I have. And then before that, I did a video, I guess, of what I had at that time in terms of old Hot Wheels and Matchbox. Well, it's been well over a year, so I figured, why not have another update video? Because I recently did get a fair bit of old Hot Wheels, Matchbox, and another series called Kenner Fast Ones that I will show you later on in the video. So a local hobby shop actually had a box for $8 of just a bunch of old Hot Wheels, Matchbox, and a Kenner Fast Ones. Ended up being 44 cars in total in that box. I didn't end up keeping about maybe 10 to 12 or 13 of them. Just because they were doubles or they were just too far beyond, I guess, like fixing up and whatnot. But the rest of them I did keep, and they actually ended up being cleaned up very nicely. All I did was I literally just used some water, some dish soap, and a toothbrush to clean them up because they were, covered with like, dirt and grime and stuff. They were probably in like a garage or somewhere like that, stored like semi-outside for years and years, seeing how dirty some of them were. But they all turned out to be very clean and very, good looking once I was finished with all of them. And I think the $8 was worth it for just the Matchbox cars that were in that set alone. So that was really cool. But since then, I bought those cars. I cleaned them all up. I organized them, and I put them in their respective cases that they belong in. So these two cases you see here are my two cases of old Matchbox cars. And by old, I mean from the beginning of Matchbox, which is like 1953, up until 1999. I pretty much am considering anything from before, I guess, the 21st century to be old. And I'm sure that, my definition of that will change as, the years go on. But at least now, for the 2020s at least, I consider older Matchbox to be anything prior to 2000. So not too much has changed in terms of the, the old, like, Leslie Matchbox in this case here. All these rows are pretty much exactly the same. I may have moved some things around here and there in like the past year, but I think pretty much everything is how it was in that last video I made. But the different items are actually down here. So these 5 are new to me. They were from that box I got from that local hobby shop. So we do have this dump truck in here. I didn't know that this actually had the cab in the box. This was at the very bottom of the box. I thought, oh, I got some random dump thing. But it's really cool. Ended up cleaning up very nicely. It's from the early 1970s, which is cool. Then we have this Merryweather fire truck, very beat up. I think this is from 1969 or something. I may do some more like restoration work to this, but at least for right now, I just cleaned it up. It does have the decals still kind of hanging on there just a little bit. This is a Bearcat. I like that kind of dark orange it came in. This used to have a satellite on top, but of course it did break. This is one of the Matchbox Roll-O-Matics vehicles where like something spins. I have a few of those Roll-O-Matics here. Like this truck has that lion that runs around in the back, and this police Land Rover has the rotating light bar, and this Mustang has like the pistons popping up on it. But aside from the radar being missing, this came out really good looking and very clean. Here's kind of a Matchbox fantasy car I thought was cool, especially in this kind of blue paint here. This is the Hellraiser, which I thought was a very cool looking. Clean up nicely. This one had a lot of dust kind of jammed up in the seats and everything, so it took a couple of different scrubbings to get that clean, but it came out looking great. And here's a Detomaso Pantera. Also came out looking really, really good. I like the blue base on it too, and it has the white paint on it, of course. I'm thinking of removing whatever's left of these little decals on here. The decals on the doors would have kind of looked like this hood decal. It would have said, I think, just the number 8 with a blue background, whereas on the hood it says Pantera and number 8. But yeah, not much left on there. I'll probably remove like the rest of that residue on there, maybe make these wheels more silver looking again. But I mean, for a 40, almost a 50-year-old car, it came out looking great. What does the copyright date say? 1975. I think this was maybe a 1976 or 77 casting. So that's pretty much it for this side. We'll go ahead and take a look at the other side next. Just got to close up this door. All right, on the other side, we have kind of late 1970s to early 80s Not much, again, has changed on this side. I did kind of move some of these around and everything, but they have stayed on this kind of same side of the case. So the new additions to this case are from here down. So we have the Audi Quattro. It has the Audi Sport kind of rally decos on the side. I used to have another Audi Quattro like this. It was actually made by Yatmang, and I got rid of it years ago. So I'm happy to have kind of an indirect replacement for it, I guess. This kind of early 80s Matchbox casting. It does have a metal base on it too, which is very cool. And then one of my favorites from the box is actually this Ferrari 308. I love the kind of, red that's on there with that black stripe. It looks awesome. I have a Ferrari 308 Roadster made by, I think it's a Hot Wheels casting, so I'm glad to have the coupe version too. Then I have this awesome silver Porsche 911 Turbo. Looks familiar, and that's because I have the rally version that my dad actually had as a kid. Same casting, just different like interior colors and that, tow hook in the back and everything. Then we have the Citroen XM, kind of this interesting looking station wagon. I love this particular casting too. You do have that opening hatch in the back also. Very cool. This is from like the late 70s. I think it's a 79 or something like that. Super cool. Then we have the Toyota Supra race car. This actually features an opening lift gate in the back, and this one came out looking incredibly well done. All the Matchboxes came out just looking awesome. A couple of them did have like that decal rash and stuff on it, but I think that buying that box of cars was worth it for some of these, Matchbox Superfast castings alone, just because I have been looking for some of these for quite some time. Here's actually a second Pantera, kind of like a modified one, greased lightning it says on the front. Then you have this kind of giant engine in the back here. It looks really cool in that red. You have kind of similar wheels and a similar base as the other Pantera. So I didn't have any Panteras in my model car collection of any scale, but now I have two. So that's cool to see that. Then we have kind of this cool tractor like digger sort of thing. This does move up and down like so. This wasn't really that dirty. It just had a lot of looked like carpet dust kind of shoved inside the cab. So this was an easier cleaning job, and it came out very well. This is a tractor shovel, actually. What did I call it? A digger thing or something? All right, we'll take a look next at the later older Matchbox cars, I guess I should call them. These are from like the 1980s up until the late 90s on this side. So we'll close that up and we'll take a look at this case next. Okay, on here, there's actually a few new additions, I guess. So these two here did not come with that box of cars I got. I actually found these in a case that was hidden away in like one of our closets. This is a Land Rover 90, kind of a beat up Land Rover 90. And this truck did used to have some kind of like container or thing on the back. I'm thinking of trying to find like a replacement container for it, because the truck itself is in very good shape. I might look at eBay or something like that. I do have two different Sterlings too. I don't know if these were in the last video I have of this case. I have the beat up Sterling that I played with as a kid, and this kind of mint Sterling. Both of these were actually my dad's. I don't know how he ended up with two of them, but it's kind of cool to have one in played with condition and one in kind of mint condition. These did come in other paint colors too, which I am trying to find. I think this foam fire truck was in here before, but I took it out and put it back in again. The actual new additions in here are these bucket trucks. I have two different ones here. Global Electric in silver, and then we have this response unit, this kind of like emergency like electric power truck. And of course, they both come with the extendable bucket arms and the buckets themselves on there. These were, really dirty, especially. But I was glad I was able to kind of save them and, clean them up very nicely, because you have all these different grooves that dirt can get in, and stuff was inside the buckets and whatnot. And the box did actually come with two of these. This one I've had since I was a kid, but I would have had three more, I guess, if I had kept the two that came in that box. But they were very beat up, and they had like the broken buckets on them, so I decided to let those two go. And I don't think I've had all my Model A's in this case up until this point. So here's like the Raisin brand, the Matchbox series, and like the Pepsi Cola. And I have more on the other side too, which we'll look at next. So this side, I guess, is completely new, because I didn't have all these 90s Matchbox castings in a case previously, I guess. So, yeah, here's all of them here. I have a couple of Plymouth Prowlers. I have this Mack fire truck with the Citronia Fire Company livery on it. They're like a Poconos fire company. This Jaguar Roadster here, Chrysler Atlantic Concept, F50 Ferrari, love that one. Two E-classes right here. This one has like an intergalactic research deco, and this one just says E-class on the side. Volkswagen Concept 1. Two more of those Model Y trucks here. One has Texaco on it and actually has rubber tires. And then we have Matchbox Speed Shop right there. And then we have this Chevy bus. They call it a Chevy transport bus. Two Lambos. We have the Countach and the Diablo here. The Diablo actually has an opening rear engine cover, which is kind of cool. There we go. Cool. You know, I think that's cool to see that because Matchbox was kind of going away from these opening parts in the mid-90s, but on here they actually did include that. Firebird Ram Air 1997. We have the Mustang Cobra, Opel Calibra, Nissan 300ZX. Then we have, down here we have the Ford Probe GT in red. And then we have actually a second Ford Probe down here in black. This one did actually come in that box of cars that I bought. This one's from 1994, and this one's from 1996. Then we have a Toyota Supra, 1995, an Escort, and this is like a rally car. Then we have two Tahoes down here, two Chevy Tahoes. We have a Chevy Tahoe Fire Chief with a kind of different front end grille, and a regular Chevy Tahoe with kind of this spray deco on the side, and 454 on the hood. So I went from kind of having, I guess, from having one old Matchbox case to having two of them because I decided to kind of reconfigure stuff just a little bit. And I think it ended up turning out nice. So I'm glad that it worked out in that sense. And as I get more, I'm sure these will move into like a third case maybe. I'll be sure to release an update video, I guess, on that if that ever does happen. So next we'll take a look at the Hot Wheels editions that I have. We'll close this up and we'll look at the Hot Wheels next. Now, in this case, you will see some gaps, and that's because these cars are in my display case in my room, so you'll see those in this next brief clip. Okay, so in terms of new additions to the old Hot Wheels case here, I do have this Peterbilt truck. This would have once either had a cement mixer on it or some kind of tank, tanker thing on it. I decided to keep it because I do plan on adding something to this truck in the future, maybe have like a dump truck part on here or something, and it was in pretty good shape overall. Speaking of the Peterbilt, I actually did get a complete cement truck in that box too. So here's how this would look if it had the cement mixer still on it. It does actually spin, which is really cool to see, and it does tilt too. So I may switch these because this seems to be in slightly better shape in terms of paint job and all that. So I may put the cement mixer piece from this truck to this truck. I'm not too sure what I want to do exactly yet. This is not in the case because it was too tall. Like the cement mixer is too tall to fit in there. And kind of interesting is that this looks like my iced tea casting, like black, red, and white. I just saw that just now. And two more that I haven't put in the case because of their sizes. This actually also came in that box. This is like a McDonald's Hot Wheels car from like the early 90s. Just kind of like a funny car, like drag racer thing. This was really, really dirty. And I am planning on posting like Instagram photos of like the before and after progress and just of the whole entire box. But yeah, this came out like really, really nice. This is a kind of light neon colored garbage truck. I believe it's from like 98 or 99. This is another found car that was in that case that I found. And this is cool. It has like the tilting bucket down here, and this whole back end actually comes off and stuff. Yeah, it doesn't quite fit in there. So this is going to go, I have kind of like an overflow case where I put stuff that doesn't either fit, like, that either doesn't physically fit into a slot in one of these clear cases, or I just don't have room for it in the clear cases. I may one day try to film my entire Hot Wheels collection and Matchbox collection, but that'll be hard because there's hundreds and hundreds of cars. But yeah, that's it for pretty much this side of the case, along with these three additional cars here. So we'll take a look at the other side of this case next, and then we'll finish off with the Kenner Fast Ones. And again, there are some gaps on here because I did have a couple of those cars that were from here in my case in my room. But not really too much in here. I moved some stuff around, like the Johnny Lightning Ford I may remove from here. I just kind of have it up top here at the moment. But this McDonald's Hot Wheels fire truck actually came in that box. And I believe it's actually from the same era, if not the same year, as this McDonald's hot rod that was from the early 90s. But this was probably the dirtiest thing in that box. And because the whole thing's made of plastic, it was really, like, you could really see the difference once it was clean, which is very cool to see. This kind of cannon, fire cannon, or hose cannon, I guess I should say, goes up and down like so, which is really cool to see. It looks kind of chewed up on, which is gross, I guess, but I might be able to sand that off maybe. I'm not too sure. But a cool little addition, I would say. It even has 1968 on the hood, because that's when Hot Wheels actually was first founded, so that's cool to see. And I added the Thunderbird that those landscapers found buried in our backyard last summer. This is the car that I, thoroughly cleaned up and everything. I did have to unjam the wheels again. I still can't get that last little bit of dirt out of it, but it's kind of a nice, like, I guess, tribute to, like, what his life was like for 15 plus years, I suppose. But this was in a different case, and I finally added it to the older Cars case, because this casting would have been made in 1995 or 96. So, but yeah, that's in there too. So yeah, not much changed with the Hot Wheels, I guess. I do hope to add some more older castings like these in the near future, and they'll also be shown in whatever next update video I do have. So we'll go ahead and finish up with the Kenner Fast ones, last but not least. Okay, and here are the Kenner Fast ones. Now, I actually had no idea that this brand even existed until I actually got that box of cars. What they were kind of a competitor to Hot Wheels and Matchbox that were pretty short-lived. I think the early 1980s is when they existed, and that's it. I think they were around from maybe 1980 until 1983, or maybe 84 or something like that. And the interesting thing about these cars is that kids could get their own unique license plate for them and stick it on the back of the car. So I have a few in here that actually still have their license plates that were stuck on by a kid way back when these were new. So here's this kind of Camaro shooting brake looking thing. Looks cool. It's like yellow and everything. This was really dirty. Like, I thought it had like rust spots, but it was just brown dirt. But it came out looking really kind of clean and crisp and everything. This has an Illinois plate on it. And all these castings have this kind of emphasized rear bumper, so you could, kids could show off like their custom license plate and stuff. Now, kids couldn't make the plates. I think the cars came with the specific plates. And they also came with a card that a kid could fill out as like a certificate of ownership card. So sort of like owning like a real car. Like, for my real car, I have the ownership card and stuff like that. This kind of gave kids the opportunity to kind of have that sense of like, uniqueness and ownership and everything. So I thought that was kind of cool. And there are other videos and stuff of the Kenner Fast ones that are out there. But I thought it was pretty interesting. I never even heard of this brand before. And now I have like 15 of their cars. So that's the Camaro. This is like a BMW looking casting. And these all have fantasy names to them. I just can't place my finger on what the fantasy names were actually called. There is actually a website, like a database of Kenner Fast ones, and it tells you about all the different colors and names of them. If I think of it, I'll link that site to the description of this video. But this has the Alaskan plate, which is cool to see, and this one was pretty dirty too. There are a few doubles that came in the box, and here's what's really interesting is that for this like ambulance, I got one really beat up version, still has the plate on it. It's a Minnesota plate, I believe, and it came with one almost mint version, like this. Looks like it just came out of the packaging, except for a little bit of paint rash up there. But for the most part, mint. But I'm thinking of what I'm thinking of doing is maybe repainting this, like restoring it. There was a second version of this van that came as like just a blue van with like some custom striping and stuff on it. I may paint it to look like that. I'm not too sure yet. I may just get rid of the old beat up one and keep the like the mint one. I don't know, but I thought it was an interesting kind of project that I could partake in. Then we have these two kind of shark cars that are two different colors. These are actually the two colors that this casting was actually released in. And these also both have their original plates. Well, I'm sorry, that one's actually gone. Oh well, but this one has an Oklahoma plate on it, which is cool to see. And then next we have these two Corvettes. Okay, the Corvettes are called Jet Vets. That was like the official casting name for them. I do remember that. And the trucks here are the Evil Eye semis. So I do remember some names, I guess. So yeah, I got 2 Corvettes with this box. This one is a lot more beat up than this one. I'm thinking of just stripping this one and just painting it like a solid color, maybe like a yellow, or maybe like an original 1980 paint color that the Corvette would have come in. I'm not too sure yet, but here's those 2 Vettes there. And we have these 2 kind of fantasy castings that are chrome. Definitely a tribute to Hot Wheels Super Chromes, which were pretty popular around the same time. They're both chrome, but they both have different color striping. Like this one kind of has like a magenta and rose color striping, and this one has kind of blue striping on it. 08217, that's what these say on them. This one has a West Virginia plate on it, and this one does not have a plate on it. One plate did actually come loose. It was this yellow California plate, so I'm thinking of putting that maybe on this one here, because this one is a pretty mint-looking car. And then, you know, just so it has like a plate, because the plate was gone from it. And here's kind of the most beat-up one that came in the set. This is based off like a Jeep CJ7. It's called the Gravel Grinder. It would originally have either been blue or white, but someone definitely repainted it, as you can tell by the kind of brush strokes on like the seat and everything. And that paint like came off somehow, and there's actually some oxidation and stuff. So this I'm definitely going to either strip entirely, or I don't know. I don't know if I'll even keep it. But it was so cheap, so I'm probably going to give the interior kind of a more thorough scrubbing and maybe repaint the whole thing blue or something like that. I just got to get all this paint and oxidation off and everything. And I'll have to kind of bring the chrome back to the wheels too. So a lot of cool projects with these cars, which is cool to see. Then we have kind of this Chevy Blazer tribute here in green. This came out looking really nice. The roof was very dirty, and so was the engine sticking out there. This one has a Minnesota plate on it, which is really cool. And the wheels and base turn out to be really well done too, like in terms of like the condition and stuff. The bases all kind of say something similar. These cars were made either in Hong Kong or Macau, depending on the casting, and you have like a production number and stuff on them too. Then we have the 2 Evil Eye semis. I got 1 blue one and 1 white one here. And these look pretty cool. They're actually pretty heavy too, but they do roll quite nice. These are definitely like Hot Wheels, I guess, lookalikes because of the kind of fantasy looking nature to them, but massive spoilers on them and stuff. And these are actually both the colors that this casting came in originally, so I'm really glad to have them. These both have plates on them. Let's see, this one, Rhode Island, and then we have Alabama. And last but not least, we have the King Cobra, which is pretty much a Mustang Cobra, like a 1979 or 80 Cobra, in this cool kind of bright green with the Cobra snake on it. So very cool. Overall, I think I did pretty good with that box of, you know, that $8 box of 40-some cars. I mean, although I didn't keep all of them, the ones I did keep, I would say, were well worth getting that whole entire box. You saw I added all these, you know, Kenner Fast ones, which I never even heard of, and then I, you know, found that box, then they were all in there. And it was just a fun project to, you know, clean all these cars up and everything. I'll definitely have some Instagram photos of kind of like the before and after progress of cleaning up all of these cars I got from the hobby shop. And yeah, you guys can look forward to those in the coming weeks. As always, thank you so much for watching, and feel free to comment down below with your thoughts on any of the cars that I showed here today. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.